If you want to sound more naturally British and not just grammatically correct, these phrases will help you instantly. Hello, my English-speaking friends. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new, my name is Reassuring. I'm a speech and language therapist, a linguist, and a TEFL-trained teacher. And today, we're going to practice 10 very British ways of saying things. Living in the UAE, I realize how British I sound. People would understand my English, but sometimes not my phrases. And I realized how much everyday British language isn't taught in textbooks. So today, I'm going to give you 10 very British phrases that you can use to help you sound more naturally British. How I will do this is I will say the word or the phrase twice so that you can repeat after me, and then I will explain the meaning briefly. Then I can give you a scenario or example in which the word or phrase is used. So the first one is fair enough. Fair enough. And that means okay, essentially. It's another way of saying okay, or another way of saying all right. For example, in a scenario where you had said, I'd rather not go out tonight, the other person could say, no, fair enough. Fair enough. So it just is another way of saying okay or all right. The second phrase that is commonly used with British speakers is this phrase, a bit of a nightmare. A bit of a nightmare. The meaning of this is something not going to plan or is a bit of a disaster. For example, if someone had said to you, my train got delayed 2 hours yesterday, you could say, that's a bit of a nightmare. That's a bit of a nightmare. So it didn't go to plan. That's a bit of a disaster. The third phrase that British speakers often say is this one, I can't be bothered. I can't be bothered. And this just means that I don't have the will or the energy to do whatever the thing is that I'm supposed to do. So for example, someone could ask you, are you going to cook tonight? And if you don't have the energy or the will, I'm going to get takeout tonight. I can't be bothered. I can't be bothered to cook. The fourth phrase that British speakers very often use is this one, not ideal. Not ideal. And this means it's not great. It's not really what we want. British people are notorious for underplaying a situation and not really showing much emotion around it. So something could be really terrible, but we're very known to say, oh, that's not ideal, when actually it's a disaster, it's really bad. But we just diminish it and say, it's not ideal. For example, someone could say, the meeting got cancelled. That's not ideal. That's not ideal. Or it's flooding in the UK today. Oh, that's not ideal. That's not ideal. The next phrase is, to be fair. To be fair. This is another way of saying, all things considered, for example, in a situation where he was very rude to me, but to be fair, he did apologize. So all things considered, he did apologize and it was okay. To be fair. The next phrase, we do often use this phrase, fancy a. Fancy a. And it's a common phrase that we use to start a question when we're asking someone if they want something. So for example, fancy going for a coffee? Fancy going to get a drink? Fancy going into town? So it's just a way of saying, do you want? It's another casual way of saying, do you want to go into town? Do you want to grab a coffee? Do you want to go have a drink? The next one is just this word, sorted. Sorted. And this just means something is fixed, it's arranged, it's organized. Basically that it's been taken care of, whatever the thing is. For example, if someone asked you, has the booking been done? You could say, yep, sorted. So it's a way of reassuring that something has been sorted. The 8th phrase we have that British people often use is, I reckon. I reckon. And this just means I think, but it's another way of saying that. So you're predicting something that's going to potentially happen. An example of this is saying something like, I reckon it will rain today. I reckon it will rain today. So you're predicting that you think it's going to rain later today. The 9th word that British people often use, far more than the Americans, is this word, brilliant. Brilliant. Just means awesome. So Americans would often say awesome, but we say awesome, but we also say this word brilliant often. And we can use it for any scenario that is showing something went well or that's great. For example, if you're sharing some really positive news with someone, I got the job, the other person could say, brilliant, or well done, that's brilliant. The last phrase that British people often say is this one, no worries. No worries. And it's just another way of saying you're welcome. So rather than always saying you're welcome when someone says thank you, you could use this instead. And so it can be used in obviously many scenarios. If someone said to you, thanks for sending the birthday card, you say no worries. Thank you for paying for the drinks tonight. No worries. So it's just another way of saying you're welcome. Well done on having a go and practicing with me. Let me know in the comments which phrases you already knew and which ones you weren't familiar with. Like and subscribe, and if you would like to learn more British phrases, check out my video here.